Welcome back to Cardinal Territory. Katie and Bernie coming at you. Bernie from St. Louis. I'm here in a random radio booth at Truist Park. We are recording this about an hour and a half before the first pitch between the Cardinals and the Braves on Tuesday, April 22nd. Happy Earth Day. Recycle today matters. We only have one planet. Let's save it. If you are watching this before Tuesday's game, then you'll know that the Cardinals have lost 5 straight. They are 1-10 on the road, and it just hasn't looked all that good lately. Maybe by the time you're watching this, they'll have won on Tuesday. Maybe not. We don't know. We can't predict the future, but we can tell you what we know pre-game. Masyn Winn is back off the injured list. Today was the first day he was eligible to return, and he is here in the lineup batting ninth at shortstop. Michael Ciani optioned to AAA today as the corresponding move. A little surprising given how much the Cardinals have been adamant that he should be on the roster. Bernie, let me tell you this. Talking with members on the team and the staff, this was a decision that was not made lightly. They made it when they got to the park today around this afternoon. And there were a bunch of people in the mix on who this could be. Was it going to be Thomas Saggese? Could they do a wild card and send Burleson down? They ultimately decided Ciani, partly because they need depth reasons, right? Mason's coming back from a back thing, so you don't, you want to be cautious. You want to protect yourself. Brendan Donovan, he's unavailable today. He was a scratch from the lineup, has some rib soreness. Could be out maybe tomorrow. Definitely not something that's going to require the IL, but they need Saggese up here just to cover their backs for depth purposes. So Ciani went to Memphis. What are your thoughts about this decision? It was a little surprising.
Well, I'm with you. I was surprised a little bit. I mean, I just assumed they would take the path of least resistance, and we all know that Ali Marmol's really big on defense, which I appreciate. They don't have a strikeout staff, starters or bullpen, so you need guys to make plays. I get it, but I do think that maybe at times they perhaps sacrifice a chance to have better offense by keeping a defensive specialist. So I'm pleasantly surprised that they're going to, at least for a little while, stay with Saggese. Look, this offense is still it's still trying to get back to what it was early in the season, and there's been a lot of bad games with bad at bats, and they're sort of losing their control of the strike zone, which they had a lot earlier in the season. And I think Saggese's a live bat, and I think you just ride that live bat until it's not so live anymore, and then maybe he needs to go to Memphis and kind of regroup. So we'll see. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, I really like this for Saggese because, as you mentioned, he's hit well at a time where most of the team has not, and he's hit well against some really lethal arms. And I thought he did a fine job backing up shortstop. I know we talked at length about the Cardinals not having to back up shortstop. I think both Donovan and Saggese did a serviceable job. Yep. I was glad to see them keep him because he can hit and he can play. He's a little raw, right? I mean, he's 22, 23 years old, not a ton of experience in the major leagues. The game can sometimes speed up on him and be a little fast. We've seen some base running miscues. But what I like about Saggese, or Saggy, if you will, that's his nickname.
Right.
I hated it at first. Now I love it. So we're only referring to Saggese as Saggy on here going forward on Cardinal Territory. But
it's a good one. It's a good one.
It's a baseball name for sure.
Yeah.
With Saggy, he is so open to learning. And I talked to him a lot in New York, specifically Saturday after he had a game where he was thrown out of the plate, not his sharpest base running game. And he is just taking in as much information as possible. He spent all of Monday's game, and I think Ollie Marmol talked about this on your show. Side note, every Tuesday, Bernie and the gang at KMOX do a show with Ollie Marmol from 12 to 12:30. It's really worth your time. And Saggese is right next to Stubby Clapp the entire game, asking questions about different scenarios. What should I do here? What if this is, what's different about this scenario compared to the other? How can I get better? So I really like that they're going to keep Saggese and give him a chance to play somewhat every day at the big league level. But on days where he's not playing every day, he still has the opportunity to learn and grow and develop. And isn't that the whole point of this season?
Yeah, it is. And my friend and colleague at KMOX, Kevin Wheeler, who I really love and respect, we've had a little bit of a disagreement, not a heated disagreement, just a baseball disagreement, because he's in the camp that Saggese's got to play every day, and my whole thing is like, look, I don't know whatever happened to this idea that if you have a young player that brings something to the table and his energy is terrific and he's hungry and he wants to learn, he's a dirt player. I mean, he'll do anything to win a game, and he's got a pretty good right-handed bat, and so there's not a way to get him to basically get him in the lineup or in a meaningful role like 3 times a week. Like, I think baseball in general has gone too far with this. And you know me, I don't live in the past, trust me. But this whole idea that if you have a young prospect, he's either got to play every day in the major leagues, or he's got to go to the minors. Isn't there a middle ground? A guy like Saggese, he's going to be in the big leagues. That was a great story. Like him,
Thank you.
Stubby clap and soak up everything he can, watching veterans, and also being of use to the team. Why does he have to play 5 days a week? Can't he have value playing 3 days a week? I don't know. So Wheeler and I were hashing that out on live radio, but it was good. I mean, I understand the whole need about play it every day, but sometimes just go too far with that. What do you think?
I think given what the Cardinals are trying to do right now, there is no way they can guarantee playing time every single day to every single player on this roster.
Right.
I mean, and we'll get to that later in the show because I think it's going to be really fascinating how Ollie Marmol balances playing time going forward with his slew of middle infielders. But for Saggese, if he's going to come up and he's going to play semi-regularly, he's not going to start every single day, not in the lineup today, of course, but he's going to have a chance to play. And like I said, he's also going to have a chance to learn. I thought this story was really cool, talking to him and Brendan Donovan after the 4-game sweep in New York, which is not great. But asking Saggese, how are you getting better? How are you evaluating yourself? And he says after every game, Brendan Donovan will go into the video room with Stubby Clapp, Chad Blair, Cardinals video guy, and watch over almost every player at bat that he was in and dissect it with those two. And Saggy was like, that sounds really cool. I would like to do that too. So now he tags along and both of them do the same. And that kind of stuff, you can't get that in the minor leagues. I'm not saying it's not accessible, but the level of play and the level of talent is so different from AAA to the major leagues. And the technology is so much better. So you have a coaching staff and a video staff that is willing to do that. And you have a player like Donovan willing to set the tone. That's the kind of growth that Saggese is going to get off the field. And it's just as important, Bernie.
I'm learning stuff from you today, and I appreciate that.
I have been working on the road. If you've been watching my Instagram stories, I'm not sure. But
I've got to go look at that. Okay, I have. I missed that. I must be honest. I missed that. I'll go look. But no, see, you make such a great point. Like, since Tony La Russa retired, this is, from what I can tell, and you know more than I do, obviously, I think this is the most proactive, teaching forward, get in there and, okay, who needs help? What can I do? And, where they really service the development of the players, even in the major leagues. So where's a Thomas Saggese, or we could name some other guys if they ever get up here this year, who knows, where he can't get that experience at AAA Memphis. And it's no disrespect to the people down there, but this is like getting a master class in baseball education. I mean, John Jay, Daniel Descalso, Stubby Clapp. Are you kidding me? I mean, these guys love to teach. They love to work with players. I mean, to me, it's a unique opportunity. So that makes me feel even more convinced that they made the right decision to keep him up here.
And that's what we talked about coming into the season. You have a staff that is so they've come up in player development. You just named 3 guys, but Ollie Marmol up there as well. There were times that John Mozeliak thought that he wouldn't be a manager, but he'd be a farm director. So I understand there's a lot of frustration with the coaching staff right now. They're unfortunately the ones that are going to wear it, especially the manager when the team is not winning. But for what the staff is doing for these teaching moments that have been said and advertised as the primary emphasis of how the season is going to go, I think this is the right staff in place, and I think they're doing a good job in the development side. Obviously, though, some wins need to come across the board, especially on the road. It's getting a little crazy, but we'll get into that first.
And Brent, real quick, Brent Brown's a teacher too.
Very
and just because the offense had a downturn, everybody, a St. Louis sport is like always blame the batting coach first, right? That's a sport.
Always blame the coaches, batting coach, hitting coach, manager.
Right. And just really quick, like when Ollie Marmol was on with us today at KMOX, and I asked him, so what was behind this downturn offensively? Like your guys, their at bats were so great early in the season. They were so disciplined. They were controlling the strike zone. They were working counts, and then all of a sudden, I give Ollie credit for his candor. He said, the thing we want them to do is just to get on fastballs, and be selective. There's a fastball in the zone, get after it. And he said they stopped doing that. They sort of fell back into their bad habits. And Brant Brown's going to get that stuff corrected. I do wonder sometime. Just as a fan, I am frustrated watching Alec Burleson. The boy, when I say boy, it's a term of affection. I'm not demeaning him. The boy just can't help himself. I mean, he just keeps helping pitchers out by it's bad enough that he swings at stuff off the plate. It's even worse that he connects with it. And
that's not the Alec Burleson that we saw coming up through the system or that we saw last year. He had such great plate discipline, such good control of the zone. So you're exactly right. When
he connects with it, one stat boy thing here, and then we'll move on. I know your time's limited. Okay. I was looking this up earlier today because I was curious, and I sort of keep track of Burleson's, let me call it strike zone management.
Okay.
So, first of all, he's had 22 called strikes this year on pitches right down the middle, meatballs, right? And to me, that seems like a lot. When they're telling him, look, man, attack strikes. He's taking 22 down the middle. The other thing is when he connects with the strike and puts it into play, his hard hit rate's like 45%. When he swings at a pitch out of the zone and puts the ball in play, his hard hit rate is 7.5%.
Oh,
I mean, what? Do you understand? What? See,
now I'm learning things from you. I'm going to look into that one.
It's true, and see, that's one of my flaws as a human being. When I get these numbers in my mind, they drive me crazy. It's like I watch every Alec Burleson at bat, and I'm like, "What are you doing?" I'm being a little dramatic, but you get my point. I love to look at this stuff and learn things, and I can't understand him. I like him. In fact, Will Leach used to tease me all the time. He said, "You're the only guy that thinks Burleson's going to be a great hitter." I don't see it. And then, when he was going great last year, Will Leach was like, I think you're right about him. No, unfortunately, I wasn't. So he's sort of back in some of those bad habits. But I'm rooting for him. I'm rooting. Us big guys must stick together, right?
It's a good point about Burleson. I'm glad you brought him up because he's going to factor into our next segment. So honestly, great segue. But to get to that segue, we need to hear from our pals at Spot and Tango. Let's get it.
FT fam, I hope you have as much confidence as Penelope right now, who is an avid Spot and Tango fan, okay? And she uses the code FOUL, Kratz, because this is a personalized dog food subscription service that prevents you, of course, from going to the store to pick up the food, and she just gets the highest quality unkibble. That is what they're known for. And I know you love the quiz part of it, too.
It's a super quick quiz, but it lets you give them the information and they tailor it to what is needed based on their age, size, activity level, all things that are custom for each and every one of your dogs.
Yeah, human-grade ingredients in that unkibble. USDA meat, fruits, and veggies that are approved there. Upgrade your pet's bowl with Spot and Tango Unkibble. Go for it. For a limited time, go to spotandtango.com/foul. Use code FOUL to get 50% off your first order. That is spotandtango.com/foul. Code FOUL to get 50% off your first order at spotandtango.com/foul. Code FOUL.
Penelope is so cute in her little Foul Territory shirt.
Totally cute.
Oh, that's
totally
the wrong shoulder. Oops.
Okay, that's all right. That's all right. It's almost 5:30 in St. Louis. Dinner time's a little while from now. Will you think less of me? I tell you that kibble kind of looked good to me.
I'm not going to think less of you, but we should probably work on that.
Okay, sounds good. You're probably right.
I'm not right about often. I also haven't eaten yet today. I'm just scrambling. What an insane road trip. I don't know why we've only been on 2, but each road trip has felt like 84 years. They've been long trips.
It's because the team's collapsing around you and there's drama everywhere,
There's a lot of drama.
So anyway,
Monday's game, we're sports writers, Bernie. I'm used to things happening quickly and you adjust and you don't get frazzled. Monday's game escalated very quickly. That was the first time in a long time where I was like, everyone I need a second. Everyone take a break. And of course that did not happen. Very, very crazy.
Can I ask you this real quick? And again, I'm really bad because you want to get on with things and I always interject some other stuff. Like what? It's obviously been a brutal time for the Cardinals. They've only won 6 of their last 20 games since the Twins left Busch Stadium.
Good.
But how, guys will put on a good front. I mean, I've been in clubhouses. Oh my gosh, so many years. Not recently, but are their heads okay? I mean, are they still feeling the enthusiasm? Do they have the energy and just kind of like this hunger and let's go get it type attitude that we saw from them earlier in the year? Or has some of that been tamped down by just being a little bit demoralized.
It's definitely not as bad as it was in 2023. Around this time in 2023, all of us were, we were 3 weeks into the season and thinking, okay, it's a little early, but we knew something was terribly wrong. Of course, the guys are disappointed. They're frustrated. Quite frankly, they're pissed, but they're still playing good baseball for what this roster allows for. And I think the fight that we see, and I know people are like, oh, here comes like the happy speak. Fight doesn't win ball games. You're right. But the fact that this team has enough resolve to fight back after a team drops a 5 spot on them in the 8th and make it a 1-run game with a tying run on first, your best hitter at the plate. They've had multiple games where they keep trying to come back. That's different to me. So yeah, guys are frustrated. No one likes to lose. No one likes to lose 5 straight. They haven't won a game on this road trip yet. It sucks. But when you go in the clubhouse, it's not nearly as panicky or as frustrating as 2023. So I'm not going to say that, everyone's happy, yay, because they're not winning, but there's like a calmness here. We're like, okay, we're going to turn it around. We have the place, Mason's back, Herrera's hopefully back relatively soon. It's not as bad. Could be better. Some wins would definitely help.
No, I buy what you're saying totally. And that's not really happy talk, because athletes who are highly competitive and they can find that next gear in being competitive. And even when they're a little rattled by either the way they're playing or the team playing, if they just dig in and fight harder, it's a cliche and it's all that stuff, but there's something to that. You were around that 2023 team. I've been around some teams where you could just tell not too many people really gave a damn. I mean, yeah, they played, they showed up for work.
Right.
They were happy when they hit a home run or whatever, but it's some of those teams Mike Matheny had late in his tenure here. He got fired right before the All-Star break in 2018. I mean, that team just kind of mentally had packed it in. It was just bad juju all over that place. I mean, bad karma, everything. You had certain players wouldn't even talk to Matheny or vice versa. So yeah, a team that sticks together and pardon the Newt Rockne stuff, but fight. It actually does matter.
It does.
It does. So anyway,
and they're not there yet. They're doing a nice job of weathering this very frustrating portion of their early season. Another thing that will need to be weathered is, let's get to the banner that I finally put the right one up there. How will Ollie Marmol balance his playing time with his slew of middle infielders? We'll just name them: Masyn Winn, Brendan Donovan, Saggese, Alec Burleson, Nolan Gorman. Can he get all 5 in the lineup regularly? Here's what he told us today pregame. Going forward for at least the next week.
I'm taking notes.
Nolan Gorman's going to get a run at everyday playing time. So we're going to see Nolan Gorman in the lineup every single day, most likely at DH. He'll mix in at second every now and then too. Masyn Winn obviously is going to play shortstop every day, and they'll manage his back accordingly. Donovan's going to be in there. We just don't really know what position. So we're going to see Saggese mix in, and Burleson's going to be on the bench. That's how he's going to balance playing time for right now. The reason for this is they want to give Nolan Gorman a true run. He came up for the first week of the season. He looked good. He didn't get a lot of playing time. He was on the bench a lot. But in the limited playing time that he had, Nolan Gorman looked like a solid hitter. Then he pulls a hamstring, minor injury, but comes back, and the offensive production sharply declined. They think it's because he's not getting enough consistent playing time. So they're going to make sure that he gets that. We're going to see a run of Nolan Gorman for the foreseeable future. Burleson, Ollie said they'll be able to find a way to mix him in so he's not solely on the bench. But for right now, the priority is getting Masyn every day and Gorman every day.
I totally approve of that. Not that anybody gives a damn what I think, but I approve of that. I think it sounds smart.
I care about you.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. No, you have me on this your show, so I'm just trying not to bring down the quality. But anyway, no, Gorman has to play every day, and you're right. He was looking good, and he got derailed by that injury. He came back. He looked terrible, but I tell you what a great what a nice game he had last night.
Yes.
And he took good swings. And so you got to play him. I know a lot of fans are down on him. I get it. Believe me, I get it. But and this isn't a make or break season, but it's really close to finding out more about whether he's someone you can count on and whether there will be. He doesn't have to have like outstanding plate discipline. It just can't be out of control, So he's got so much talent. And there's not a lot of power hitters in this entire organization either. That's the other thing, especially with all the right? Especially with all the right-handed pitching, not that the Cardinals see, but major league teams see. I mean, like 72% of the plate appearances are taken against right-handed pitchers. So where are you going to get the power bat? I mean, that's still a Cardinals deficiency. He's got that potential. He does need to cut down on the swing and miss and the strikeouts. But the only way that's going to happen is if he's playing every day and they can have these classroom sessions with him after games, like real hands-on approach, right? No, I think that's great. And I think Burleson kind of needs to move to the back of the line, so to speak. You know, we talked about it a little earlier. Donovan's got to play. Saggese's got to play. And Saggese can use him at 3 different positions.
Right.
So he'll get some run. He'll get some run.
I think they'll be able to do it. It's nothing that about this roster or this team is perfect. And the way that the season is going to go, we're going to have a lot of plans that stick for 1 week, and then they're going to change course. This is just the nature of the season we all signed up for. But for this particular case, where the Cardinals are right now, from a record perspective, offense perspective, and development perspective, playing Nolan Gorman every day is the right call. It's something that they advertised they were going to do all winter. They didn't necessarily do it early on. Now is the time to do that. A little bit more on Nolan Gorman awaits, but we need to hear from our friends at FanDuel Sports Network first.
All right.
Take me out to my TV on FanDuel Sports Network. Yeah. Watch me some dingers and RBIs. I'm just glad they have my local team live, for it's root for the Cardinals on FanDuel Sports Network. Cardinals games, tripping Brad, the birds on the bat. Did I mention they have the Cardinals? Stream now.
Speaking of FanDuel Sports Network, Nolan Gorman is our FanDuel Sports Network player to watch starting on Tuesday, but by the time most of you see this, it will be Wednesday. And he'll be right in the midst of that, getting that everyday run. He's the Cardinals' 3-hole hitter today, Tuesday, because Brendan Donovan was that scratch, like I mentioned, so they just swapped places. But I thought you were spot on, Bernie, with what you said about Nolan Gorman. We got to get more contact out of this guy. I mean, swing and miss is always going to be a part of his game. And if you want a power bat, this is not the game of the 1980s and 1990s anymore. If you want a power bat, strikeouts are going to come with it.
That's right. That's
40% of your at-bats being strikeouts cannot come with it, however.
Too much.
Talked to Ollie Marmol before the game today, and we said, hey, what do you need to see from Nolan Gorman? And he said he has the types of swing that allows for doubles, homers off the bat. Seriously, when you're at Busch Stadium, when you're here watching the game on TV, the ball just sounds different. I know when Nolan Gorman has made contact because the ball sounds different, but he has to incorporate more contact into that swing. So that's what we're going to be looking at over the next week or so when he gets this run of everyday starts. Can he cut down the contact rate? Can he be more selective with pitches in the zone? I mean, because he can slug it. We know this. He can swing it. It's just a matter of making contact more consistently. That's what I'm looking for, at least.
Yeah, my friend, the baseball analyst, Joe Sheehan, and shout out to his newsletter. I've learned a lot from baseball. He's like drafted for his fantasy team. He's like drafted Nolan Gorman, like, you know, almost every year. I think he might have given up on him this year. And the thing of it is, like Joe's always talking about, oh my gosh, when he connects with a sweet spot, like his barrel rate, his sweet spot rate, it's like outrageously good. You know, so this backs up what you're saying about, you know, there is a sound coming off his bat when he makes that sweet contact. There's really no one on the team that has it to that level. So they just got to ride with him. Just like John Mozeliak said all last year, they just have to do it. They can't have doubts. Same with Jordan Walker. Jordan Walker hasn't looked as great at the plate. And, you know, he's sort of getting into some technical stuff that got him, sort of set him back. And but again, they're correcting it on the fly. There's a lot of instruction going on. They got to let these guys go. They just have to. You know, there's no turning back.
No,
because
exactly.
There's none. Because the last thing the St. Louis Cardinals need is them trading away young guys because they're frustrated and then have them blossom elsewhere. We've all seen way too much of that.
We have. And that's the whole, again, the point of the season is to give these guys runway without the looming threat or sense of them getting sent down, right? So Nolan Gorman was never in consideration to be optioned with the Masyn Winn coming back because of that reason. If he was, I would have lit this organization up promise you that, because it goes against everything that they said. Now they're doing the right thing by giving Gorman and Walker runway. And the thing is, these players are supposed to slump. They are supposed to struggle, because that's how the Cardinals are going to evaluate how to go forward with their future, because they need to know how to get out of it. So do you want Jordan Walker and Nolan Gorman slumping? Of course not. That's not good for the offensive production. That's not good for winning ball games. But do you need them to struggle so you can see how they adjust at the major league level and find ways to get out of it? Absolutely, because that's how you're going to develop or evaluate them for their long-term production, which is the whole point of this transition season. And Cardinals fans, I get it. We have not done this before. It's very frustrating, but there are going to be times where the Cardinals lose winnable ball games because they need different key players that they hope to be part of the future to take steps forward. And that's what we're going to see from Gorman and Walker right now as they work through their slumps.
No, totally. This is a related observation. Like the Cardinals, with all their mixed messaging along the way, the one thing that I think they've remained true to, and again, Gorman got hurt, so that's why he just went sideways. But they have remained faithful to that premise so far. It's about it. And I really do understand why fans will get frustrated watching those guys, as much as I pull for them, and I do pull for them. I love to see talent shine. I don't root for failure. I don't have a problem writing and talking about failure, but I don't root for it.
See, this is how we get along.
Exactly. I got in this business to cover greatness, and I've been very blessed to cover a lot of greatness. But here's the thing, when John Mozeliak, in the mixed messaging part of this, he talked a lot about, we could be a surprising team. We're going to be better than people expect. Well, we think we're going to be exciting. Well, we think, dropping hints almost that they're going to contend. And okay, but if you think all these things, you can do all these things, why didn't you give your manager a bullpen this year?
Oh, that's so good. I already know what we're talking about next episode.
Yeah, why don't you, first of all, the Ollie haters will blame him for everything, right? But he's in this predicament now, I think, when he looks around, who do you trust down there? I mean, you trust Helsley. I think you trust Kyle Leahy, and this will be the next episode. So I'm teasing forward. I think you trust Phil Maton to an extent.
Yeah, you can run Phil Maton back out there. He had not walked the batter, not allowed to run up until Monday. Actually, you guys will love this, Bernie. Quick side.
Yeah. I love it. Go ahead.
Monday afternoon, the three beat writers on this trip are myself, Derek Gould, John Denton, and we walk into Ollie's office, and we're just, catching up. And the three things we said were that hadn't happened yet. We're like, Phil Maton has not walked a batter. Phil Maton has not allowed an earned run. And Ollie had done a really nice job with umpires. And on Monday, Phil Maton walked a guy, he allowed an earned run, and Ollie got tossed. So maybe it's us. Maybe we should just not say anything anymore.
This bullpen, I'm obsessed with it now. Because Fernandez went sideways, and Jojo Romero, Katie, this applies to you too. You're my friend. I don't want any other member of the St. Louis sports media, the baseball media, to talk about Jojo Romero being a shutdown lefty. He's not, okay? He's not remotely close to that. Right-handed hitters destroy him. He's still good against lefties, but with this, the new rule where, you come into a game, you got to pitch to three batters. I mean, the other managers know this. They also know the Cardinals don't have much down there in terms of quality left-handed relief. As soon as they send a right-handed batter up, I mean, he's it's like hunting season. And it's like, he's awful. He's a nice guy. He doesn't want to be awful, but and there were signs of deterioration last year, and this is what I'm talking about. If John Mozeliak wants to tease the fans and entice them, we think we could be pretty good. Give your manager a bullpen to work with, because when Fernandez went sideways, that changed a lot. Not having Kittredge changed a lot. Romero fading badly has changed a lot. But did they have a backup plan? Do they have options? Not really. So anyway.
You can say that across the board for the entire roster.
Right.
I mean, you're spot on with the bullpen. And for subscribers, commenters, viewers, drop me your questions or drop us your questions in the comments about the bullpen and bullpen usage. specifically if the next two games do not go well. I have a feeling we'll be talking about it a lot because Bernie, you're spot on with everything you're saying here.
I threw something at Ali on Campbell X today. I said, listen, I understand the 6-man rotation thing, and I understand it's going to come and it's going to go, and it's going to come and it's going to go. But, you don't have enough you don't have a good left-handed reliever down there, all due respect to everybody else. Liberatore's got to stay in the rotation. He deserves it. He's earned it. He's an exciting talent. And with all due respect to Michael McGreevy, I had this discussion with a fan. If you gave the other 29 general managers and said, okay, who do you think has more upside, Liberatore or Michael McGreevy? All 29 would say Liberatore.
Yep.
This is his time to be in the rotation. But what I said to Ali, I said, why can't you put Matz in the bullpen and just when you need that spot start in that 6-man setup, you call McGreevy up to make that. He doesn't have to stay. So
you're part of the show. I was snapping in the car on my drive to the stadium. I was like,
"Oh, yeah, okay, you heard that? Yeah." And he said, "We're what did he say? We're kicking that around, or I forgot what he said. Now I can't even remember. But he was basically
along the lines that they've talked about it.
They talked about it. So they're putting Liberatore back in the bullpen is not a solution. Putting Matz in the bullpen, in fact, is a solution. Again, I'm not cold-hearted about this, but he's going to be a free agent. He won't be a Cardinal next year. You got to invest in something that's going to last if you can."
Well, Bernie, I think you wrapped it as best as I could because I think that you're spot on there. And I'm interested to see if the bullpen continues to struggle. We might see some shuffling leading up into the off day on Thursday. I'm going to really evaluate this because against the Brewers, especially the series after this, assuming we all survive Atlanta, okay, Monday did our best to wipe us out. I'm really intrigued to see what this bullpen looks like. And I think you made some fantastic points there. And don't worry, you all. You can watch the Cardinals bullpen because you can now stream St. Louis Cardinals games through FanDuel Sports Network. And if you use the promo code baseball30, you can start it off with a 30-day extended free trial at FanDuelSportsNetwork.com/packages. This deal expires May 2nd, 2025, $19.99 a month after your free trial. Cancel during your free trial to avoid charges. Eligibility restrictions apply. Visit FanDuelSportsNetwork.com for details. I got to run, Bernie, because I'm looking up and I think they're getting ready for the anthem. So Cardinals fans, stay with us. We'll have an update, hopefully a better one after the end of the Braves series. And then we got a three-game homestand against the Brewers for some NL Central action. What are we doing?
What you lose credibility if you're not there at the start of the national anthem?
Well, no, I just have nothing. I have nothing prepped because here's the background for you viewers. Clubhouse times, if you're the visiting team, everything is pushed back an hour to 90 minutes later. So instead of getting at the ball, it's 7:15. So at a home game, I would have gotten to the ballpark right around 3 o'clock. Clubhouse opened at 4 o'clock though. So I lost an hour of prep time. And my athletic editor is not going to be very happy with me because I said I'd have the story in already and I haven't. So,
well, I as a loyal Athletic subscriber, in fact, I kept my subscription when I was working for the Athletic.
Done that.
Seriously, I did that. But anyway, I love the Athletic. I love your work. There's so many great writers. Jeremy Rutherford's unbelievable. But anyway, in all sincerity, I look forward to your story. I know you're probably going to be writing about the roster machinations, the decisions
That's
today.
right.
Hopefully they'll pop it up there late at night. I can read it before I lay my big fat head on the pillow and go to sleep. So anyway.
Although I might turn it into, based on where we are right now, it's 6:40 Eastern time. I might turn it into a roster evaluation / gamer. So if Nolan Gorman has a good game, that's a great day for me.
There you go. Come on, Gorman, help the woman out.
Please. All right, for Bernie, I'm Katie. Thanks for watching Cardinal Territory. We're going to be back with you in the middle of the week. Have a good one.